3, 2, 1, 0.
High and low, it's how I roll. A shooting star in a film noir. I'm floating around 10 feet on the ground. I'm floating around 10 feet on the ground. I am no average Joe. Be with me and you will see. More than you ever wanted to.
Hello. How are you folks? I won't go into details, but it was down to the wire today to get this thing going. Welcome to Grasping Sasquatch Stories and Science. I'm Dr. John Baranchuk. John is great. Today we're going to be featuring age regression and a neuro-linguistic programming swish technique to assist in coping with Bigfoot encounters. Usually I have a story. In this case, it would be about fight, flight, or a specific Bigfoot encounter. But today, since I've got a video to cover on age regression, I'm gonna forego the story and kind of just jump right in. In terms of age regression, I am going to do a critical analysis of this woman. I tried to look for and find age regressions associated with Bigfoot trauma or Bigfoot encounters. Couldn't find anything. So the closest thing I could find was age regression associated with UFO encounters. But honestly, I really couldn't find anything that I was satisfied with. And so I'm playing this video not as necessarily as an example of an ideal video, but I'll kind of make some critical comments as we go for do's and don'ts and what might have been different. For some reason, my page is in Facebook jail. Obviously, I'm broadcasting, but when I try and type something into the comments, I get some kind of message that I violated some kind of rule. So I won't be typing into the comments. I want to, as usual, welcome folks, CJ, Charlotte J, Cryptid Search, Uncle Bones, John Ayers, Enigma. That's a new name to the show. Thank you for attending. Mike Mitchell Albrecht, thank you. And I think that's about it, Uncle Bones, if I didn't say it. So that's the proviso here with the age regression. I'm looking at this. This is an edited video, so some of my critical comments she could have all covered and were left in the cutting room floor. So there you go with that. As usual, chat in lowercase, questions in uppercase. Like, share, enjoy, spread the word. Here we go.
see this flying saucer?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the woman for a second.
The girl? Oh God, she was beautiful. Oh, stark naked. Oh my God.
And very human.
Very human.
Boy, oh boy. Having trouble.
And what happened next?
She bent over and embraced me and hugged me.
They come like a thief in the night. They steal.
Moving on.
From the body of a human, violating.
As our subject is not UFOs, I skipped there her philosophy on UFOs and people having sex with aliens. Rather, I think what she's trying to say is aliens abducting and having sex with humans. So here we go. But as we watch this, think about if you've had an encounter or a Bigfoot encounter, rather, think about the parallels in between UFO encounters and Bigfoot encounters, both in terms of trauma and processing.
There was an incident later. I stepped out to take the garbage out, and I think it was around 2 PM, and I had a 48 Plymouth sedan sitting over there and bought from an old couple. I always bought them old cars, and beautiful things. And
I apologize for the buffering. This didn't happen in all my dry runs of this video. I'm not sure what is going on.
happened to glance up, and there was this UFO, and he was traveling. He was coming from the river, just on the treetops, just like it would be a car, just going real slow. Man, I dropped that garbage bag. I'm gonna get me a picture of this thing. I run over and I'm raising the camera up. There's a copy of the picture. You see that little black spot? That's what he left behind. Well, I had been kind of searching for a regressionist that I could trust, that I could tell my story to, because a lot of people, oh, that's just an illusion, I want to know if it's really the real truth. Is it just all an illusion?
Hey, John.
Brief comment. Whether you haven't graduated from high school, or if you've graduated from high school and got an advanced degree or not, you too can become a hypnotherapist for $3,000. Frankly, that's the course that I went through, American Council on Hypnotist Examiners. And different teachers teach different skill levels in these courses, so beware of that.
I always bought them old cars and beautiful things. And I happened to glance up, and there was this UFO, and he was traveling. He was coming from the river, just on the treetops, just like you would be a car, just going real slow. Man, I dropped that garbage bag. I'm gonna get me a picture of this thing. I run over and I'm raising the camera up. There's a copy of the picture. You see that little black spot? That's what he left behind. Well, I had been kind of searching for a regressionist that I could trust, that I could tell my story to, because a lot of people, oh yeah, it's just an illusion, I want to know if it's really the real truth. Is it just all an illusion?
Hey, John. Nice to
Lord.
see you again. Come with me.
Yes, ma'am.
John was referred to me. I was told that he had a very interesting UFO
Rachel,
case.
I don't
and
know how
he's
to
at a
do that,
point
buddy.
in his life where he's ready. John, this is Diona. She's our sketch artist. This is
Hi.
John. He's not exactly a young man. So comes a time in your life where there are things that have been in your mind your entire life, and you just need to know. And so John is at that point, and we're going to do that regression and find out more details to his experiences. If you're ready, we'll go ahead and begin. So the first question is, have you ever felt that you were paralyzed without being able to move anything on your body other than your eyes?
Yes.
Have you ever seen a hooded figure?
Yes, more than once.
Before anybody comes to me for any type of session, I do an extensive intake interview, listening to the words that they use so that I can see what resonates in their consciousness. So I
Let's see, Michael, or Mitchell.
can help them access their subconscious. Do you
It's already on the lowest. Yeah, Mitchell, it was already on the lowest, and now that I've raised it, I think it'll probably make
feel
it
that
work.
you
I don't
have
know. We'll see.
any offspring
Yes.
that are alien?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a part of you that
I feel
feels
that.
I'm sorry, guys. I mean, I watched this video through here. I see I'm frozen as well.
Real strongly.
all right. Well, we can go ahead. And begin a session. So I'm going to have you lay down here, get a pillow. You can leave your boots on or off. We'll begin the way I always begin. It's breathing in through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. With each breath that you take, perhaps you can feel yourself relaxing more and more. As this energy reaches your feet, your entire body now enveloped in a warm cocoon of energy that protects you from any negative influence and all self-defeating thoughts.
Okay, so here's my first criticism. This woman is doing an age regression with somebody who has had a serious trauma associated with his abduction and encounter. And she envelops him in a cocoon of warmth and safety. This is simply not sufficient for the strength of the trauma that was associated with this guy's experience. If you attended our last show, I talked about how I take people out of their body, out of the room, take them to a safe, secure place where they build a safe house. And then we go through a long, elaborate construction of this safe house that keeps them distant from the event. And then in that safe house, we put a entertainment center with a big screen that they can sit in a couch and watch the event on the screen, further distancing themselves and protecting themselves from the encounter itself. And there's no guarantee necessarily, because everybody is an individual case. There's no guarantee that it would completely prevent what you're about to see with this guy going through somewhere else in this video. But she did not, in my opinion, do a very good job in protecting this guy.
Now, John, I want you to allow the mind to travel back to a time when you were aware that the UFOs were coming. I want you to see that UFO in the mind as if you were right there.
It's a silver disc.
It's a silver disc.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a flying saucer.
Flying saucer. It's okay. It's okay. It's not happening now. We're just remembering you're safe.
Grandma's Hold on.
Okay, let's talk about the woman for a second.
The girl?
So additionally, after she wraps him in that cocoon of safety and wellness, then she takes him back. She undoes that by telling him it's as if you're right there. So she puts him right after wrapping him in a cocoon of protection. She puts him right in the midst of it, rather than keeping him distanced and protected from it. Craig, her name was at the beginning of the video. I can't go back to find it, given how these videos are buffering. It'll take all night.
Oh God, she was beautiful. Oh, stark naked. Oh my God.
And very human.
Very human looking.
And what happened next?
She came right through the trailer wall. She bent over and embraced me and hugged me. The next thing I know, I'm watching her walk away. This little gray alien was on her left. He was holding her hand. and he was leading her back to the ship, and he's telling me, forget what you just saw. And I felt peaceful. And the next thing I knew, I woke up. I was hurting. I was hurting down in my groin. I was hurting real bad. And I pulled down my pants and looked, and the bruises were getting blacker.
Take a deep breath now. Exhale. Okay, you don't have to be scared. They come.
So you can see that this gentleman is experiencing a little bit of an abreaction, which is an emotional rush of, a rush of emotions that he experienced as if it was firsthand, as if he was there. Again, not that my technique is all that much better that I can guarantee to prevent that, but I feel pretty strongly that the time you spend in building a safe place with a person does a much better job of sheltering these folks from that abreaction and rush of emotion than just enveloping them in a cocoon, and then on top of it suggesting it's as if he's back there again, kind of undoing that safety cocoon.
Like a thief in the night. They
Again, I apologize for these technical issues.
So you're going to flow back down into that 17-year-old energy of John. And we can see that they've been visiting you now for some time. And I'm wondering, if we were to tap in now to your higher conscious mind, where you're calm and relaxed.
There was 15 come in that night. Oh my God, they just scattered like a bunch of quail. Oh, Jesus.
You say a mouthful there. It also helps to have some know-how. Age regressions aren't a beginner kind of thing to do. I'm sorry, that's getting pretty old for me, and kind of dragging time. Otherwise, she does a decent job exploring things with this gentleman, brings them out pretty quick. He's in the end video, he's very guilty and apologetic for getting emotional during the induction itself, and she spends very little time normalizing that. She basically just says, "Oh, it's okay. You're okay. You did fine." When you have these kind of experiences, there's no reason to feel guilty or shamed. The difference between guilt is I did something wrong, and shame is I'm wrong. Something about me is wrong. So she needs to spend some more time working through some of these issues with this gentleman, and really fails to do so in the video. Again, that's not to say that she didn't in some non-videotaped work, but that kind of speaks to some of the issues that I saw in the video. And in switching around like I did, I just lost the rest of my presentation. So let me get my slides back here. Oh, what a disaster this is. Let me see if I can do it going live. Oh, I still got them. Okay. So let's move on to something that should go a little smoother. Neurolinguistic programming is a quasi-hypnotic technique developed by Richard Bandler and Grinder. I see it doesn't have Grinder's name on it anymore. They had a big court battle, but you can find this technique in using your brain for a change. And I first read it in a book called Changing Frogs into Princes, and Grinder's name would be on that. Yeah, Uncle Bones, I need a happy place. Thanks, bud. And basically the concept is that words, thoughts, sensations, including and especially images, create new neuronal connections. And by manipulating all those sensory modalities and creating new neuronal connections, you can create new behaviors. And this can be used to modulate your level of arousal in terms of how you want to behave in a Bigfoot encounter, this technique. And it can also, if you've had a traumatic encounter, you can use it to reintegrate that encounter into a healthier you. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the steps with you, but then at the very end, I think we're going to have time. I'm going to walk you through this process and have y'all do it yourself, should you choose to. If you'd rather not choose to, that's perfectly fine. This is not going to put you into any deep trance. For most people, it's more of a cognitive exercise than it is a hypnotic exercise. So there's not going to be any trance, no concern about not coming out of the trance. It's kind of a mental gymnastics exercise, if anything else. But again, no pressure to participate in it, no pressure to not participate in it. It's up to you. So the first step in the NLP swish pattern is to identify a behavior you want to change and develop an image of it. And of course, we're talking about Bigfoot here, but this could be any behavior you want to change. Be more assertive, speak out more, act happier more of the time, feel calmer more of the time. And it doesn't even have to be a mental health issue. If you want to perform better when you're softball league, in your softball league, this can be used to improve your swing or improve running the bases. Any behavior you want to change. Once you've identified that unwanted behavior, I want you to create an image of it that you'll see through your own eyes just before you start the unwanted behavior. This is 2 points here. It's just before you start the unwanted behavior you want this image to be. And it's an associated image. So we got to take, this is probably the toughest part of this exercise for people to grasp. We're going to be developing 2 images in here. This first image is an associated image. It's as if you're in your body seeing what you see just before you start that unwanted behavior. Okay? You're in your body seeing things through your own eyes. I'm also going to ask you to develop what's called a dissociated image. A dissociated image is as if you've left your body and you're seeing yourself behave. So you can move around and you can see the backside view of you. You can see the front side. You can see the top. You can see the bottom. That's a dissociated image. It's as if you used your imagination to leave your body and you can view yourself. So the first image is an associated image, what you see through your own eyes just before you start the unwanted behavior. And then the second image that I'll have you develop when we go through this will be a dissociated image, as if you've drifted out of your body and can view yourself. Are there any questions about that distinction? Because that is the biggest mistake people make. At the end of this, you test for the effectiveness of the technique. And just about 99% of the time when this technique doesn't work, it's because people have gotten the images wrong. First image, associate it, what you see through your own eyes as it, being in your body. Second image, dissociate it, how you'll see yourself after you change the unwanted behavior. So, any questions? Nope, back to step 1. So, you've identified the behavior that you want to change. You'll develop an image of it. What you see, an image of what you see through your own eyes just before you start the unwanted behavior. It's only what you see through your own eyes before you start that unwanted behavior. I want you to remember that image, but temporarily set it aside. And again, I'm going to walk us through all these steps when I do a demonstration. Now I want you to, now that you've set that first image aside, I want you to develop an outcome image. This is a dissociated image of how you'll see yourself after you change the unwanted behavior. And I've discussed that again. Remember, that image, but temporarily set it aside. Now we're going to construct the swish image. Now I want you to do is bring that first image up and make it big and bright. Hold that image in your mind. Now I want you to bring back that outcome image, the one of how you'll see yourself after you change that unwanted behavior. Make it small and dim and put it in the corner of the first big bright image. Hold on to both of these images. Now, as fast as I say the word swish, allow the small dim image to become big and bright and cover the first image, which simultaneously dims and shrinks away. Say swish. Next, I'm going to have you, once you do that, I'm going to have you blank out your screen, no images in your mind, and go through that process 4 more times. If I could see you, you'd normally be opening your eyes and blanking that image after each time, so I can keep track of the number of times you're doing it. I'm not going to be walking you through it each time. I will walk you through it the first time, but then I'll ask you to do it 4 more consecutive times after that. So we're not going to get to the test yet. So now we're going to do the demonstration. I'm going to ask you to take 3 deep breaths through pursed lips. Again, those of you attending may remember that a pursed lip is like you're whistling or breathing out through a straw to slow your exhale. Again, you generally want your exhale to be twice as long as your inhale. So if you haven't already, I'm going to ask you now to take that first deep breath in now and exhale slowly through pursed lips. Just allowing that exhale to come to a natural close. Noticing when your body inhales, you take on tension. And as your body exhales, you release and let go of that tension. As you're continuing breathing normally, I'm asking you now to take that second deep breath in and exhale slowly through pursed lips. Allowing that second deep breath to come to a normal and natural close and continuing breathing as you're naturally continuing breathing, even as I ask you one more time to take that third and final deep breath now, exhaling slowly and then continuing breathing normally. Taking that third deep breath in now and exhaling slowly. And continuing breathing however you're naturally continuing to breathe now. I'm going to ask you to identify a behavior that you want to change. It doesn't matter what that behavior is. It can be Bigfoot related or related to some other aspect of your life. It's not important which behavior you choose, just that you choose a behavior now. And once you've identified that behavior, I'm asking you now to develop an image that you see through your own eyes just before you start that unwanted behavior. What do you see through your own eyes just as you're about to do that unwanted behavior? Get that image fixed in your mind, and then I'll ask you to set it aside. Now I'm going to ask you to develop a second image. This is an image of how you're going to see yourself after you change that unwanted behavior. This is a dissociated image. It's an image as if You've left your body and you can observe yourself like you're sitting in a movie theater watching yourself on the movie screen. So I'm asking you to develop that second image of how you'll see yourself after you change that unwanted behavior. And then once you've got that image, basically set that image aside. And if you're not good at imaging, just use your imagination. You don't have to necessarily get a vivid image of this. Just imagine you're creating this second image. And so now moving on to the third step, as you hear me say the word, moving on to the third step, I'm going to ask you to bring back that first image, the image of what you see through your own eyes, just before you start the unwanted behavior. And I want you to make that image big and bright, kind of like you're turning up the brightness on the television set, and you're enlarging it as big and bright as you can. And next, I'm going to ask you to bring in that second image, the image of how you'll see yourself after you change the unwanted behavior. Except that I want you to make this image small and dim and put it into the corner of the big bright image. Bringing in that second image now of how you see yourself, how you'll see yourself after you change the unwanted behavior. Making it small and dim and putting it in one of the corners of that first image. Now, as quickly as I say the word swish, allow that small dim image to become big and bright and cover the first image, which simultaneously dims and shrinks away as you hear me say the word swish. And now I'm going to ask you to open up your eyes, and I'm going to ask you to repeat that process 4 more times. You've already identified the behavior. Develop an image of what you see through your own eyes just before you start that unwanted behavior. Set it aside. Develop that second image of how you'll see yourself how you'll see yourself after you've changed that unwanted behavior. It's the dissociated image. Now, set that aside. Next, I want you to bring back that big bright image, or that first image. Make it big and bright as you can. Bring in that second image of how you'll see yourself after you change the unwanted behavior. Make it small and dim and put it in the corner of that first image, the big bright image. And as fast as you hear me say the word swish, allow that small dim image to become big and bright and cover the first image that simultaneously dims and shrinks away as you say or hear me say the word swish. And I will walk you through it one more time. Opening up your eyes, looking around the room, closing your eyes once again, bringing up and developing that image of what you see through your own eyes just before you start the unwanted behavior, setting that aside. Developing a second image of how you'll see yourself after you've changed the unwanted behavior, and this is the one where you're looking at yourself. Get that image, set it aside. Now bring up that first image, make it big and bright. Bring in the second image, make it small and dim. And as you hear me say the word swish, allow yourself to make that big bright image dim and shrink away as the small image gets bigger and overcomes and overtakes that first image. As you hear me say the word swish. Open up your eyes, look around the room. Once again, closing your eyes, bring up that first image of what you see through your own eyes just before you start the unwanted behavior. Set it aside. Bring up the second image of how you'll see yourself after you change the unwanted image. Set it aside. Now bring up the image of what you see through your own eyes just before you start the unwanted behavior. Make it big and bright. Bring in the image of how you'll see yourself after you've changed the unwanted behavior. Make it small and dim. And as quickly as you hear me say the word swish, allow that small dim image to become big and bright and overtake the larger image, which simultaneously dims and shrinks away. And then open up your eyes. And I'm going to ask you to go through that process one more time on your own. And I'm going to ask you to do that now. Okay. I said it all in my own mind. Hopefully you've completed that. Has anyone not completed that 4 times at this point? Okay. Now we're going to do the test. I want you to try and bring up that first image and notice any changes or differences in that first image. And once you've noticed any changes, I'll read this slide. Again, the test is to try and bring up the first image and notice what's changed or different about that image, what has happened. If the technique has been successful, it may be difficult to bring up the first image at all. If it comes up, it may quickly fade away, get smaller or dim away, while the second image phases in or in some other way takes its place. I don't know if anybody walked through this with me, but I'm wondering if anyone did, if you noticed any changes in that first image when we tested it out. Don't be bashful. If you didn't notice any changes in the first image, I would ask you once again to go through that process a total of 5 times. Develop that first image of what you see through your own eyes just before you start the unwanted behavior. Set it aside. Develop a second image of how you'll see yourself after you change the unwanted behavior. Set it aside. Now bring in that first image of how you see yourself through what you see through your own eyes just before you start the unwanted behavior, make that one big and bright. Bring in the second image of how you'll see yourself after you change the unwanted behavior. Make it small and dim and put it in one of the corners of the first image. And quickly, as you hear me say the word swish, allow that small dim image to become big and bright and cover the first image, which simultaneously shrinks away. And I would ask you to go through that 4 more times. And then we would recheck the test. In the test, checking for any changes or differences in that first image. Group demonstration. Any questions about the NLP technique? We've got about 5 minutes to kill. I can't have any more dead air than I've already had on this show. If there aren't any questions, I want to go back to the age regression thing and make a couple more comments about that. One of the most important things, you may be aware of the fact that hypnotic testimony is not allowed in courts. The reason it's not allowed in courts, and that's courts as in legal courts, as opposed to the gemstones or semi-precious gemstones of courts. The reason it's not allowed in courts is because frequently the hypnotherapist, as they're doing the hypnotic induction, unintentionally implants suggestions into the patient's head about the memories that they may have experienced. And that's one of the important things, if you become a hypnotherapist, to guard against and to make sure you don't do if you're doing age regressions. Now, in both the Bigfoot case and the UFO case, we're going to be doing some of this stuff in Legend Meets Science too. I'm going to be videotaped with 4 hypnotic subjects, and we'll see how much of that ends up on the cutting room floor when the show is ultimately put out. But as a matter of trying to recruit people, we're already kind of biasing the deck in that we tried to recruit people that have had Bigfoot encounters. So we've immediately already, before we started any hypnosis, suggested a Bigfoot encounter. And for some people, probably for most, it is a Bigfoot they've encountered. But other people, who knows? There may be some people that encountered a Wendigo or one of the other variants of a Bigfoot. Or you may have encountered something supernatural. But important to acknowledge, both in this UFO video and in the Bigfoot video that'll be in Legend Meets Science too, we're kind of already biasing in that we're doing hypnotic age regressions for Bigfoot encounters. And the hope is to try and retrieve more details, but more importantly for me, I'm gonna make it a corrective experience. I'm not just gonna, as this woman did, take the people back to the event unprotected and have them re-experience the event. I'm going to be taking these people to a safe house, 2 or 3 steps distant from their encounter, allowing them to watch their encounter on a widescreen television, if you would, or a magical viewing device, so that again, it's as if they're watching them sitting in a movie theater, watching themselves on the screen. And give them the option, if they're so inclined, if they want to re-experience some of those emotions, to enter that scene and go through it themselves, but they don't necessarily have to do that. But in addition to bringing back any memories, sights, sounds, anything they might have not noticed previously, I'm going to be, before I bring them out of their safe house, I'm also going to take them through an ego-corrected experience whereby they bring all their adult resources to bear, all the skills they have now, all the different ways they might encounter that, or they might handle that encounter differently, and have them go through that event using all those skills so that they can integrate it emotionally and physically in a more effective way. We don't see that woman in that video doing any of this stuff. So for now, I want to thank you guys for attending this rather catastrophic show in terms of technical issues with that video. I'm not sure how the swish technique went for anybody, but give me some feedback either on Facebook, or if you want to PM me, that's fine too. I hope you guys have a great week. We'll see you next week. Please keep your mind open, your boots on the ground, and your heart with your higher power. Peace.
I see you running out of reason. Don't try to blame it on the seasons. Why you wanna walk away? When we began, swear we had something that would last. Baby, has a feeling bad. Falling in was easy. How do I make it stay? I'll never let go of you. Tried and true. Oh, I'll never let go of you. Tried and true. Was I a fool? I know sometimes I may wonder, but I would never leave asunder a thing as good as what we have. Is it a rule? What's good is worth the fighting. There ain't no denying that you and I were made to last. Falling in was easy. How can we make it stay? I'll never let go of you. Tried and true. I'll never let go of you. Tried and true. I'll never let go of you. Tried and true. I'll never let go of you. Tried and Have you had a change of heart? Can we go back to the start. I'll never let go of you, tried and true.
By my side, if you're in, meet me here tonight. Be brave and come alive.